Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Comic Crow, and Tucker Carlson is back. Very short time away, in fact. So on Monday, it was announced that Tucker Carlson had been fired, removed, left, whatever from Fox News. And a lot of people were unhappy with that news. Now, plenty of people were happy with it too, of course. Many people on the left were hardcore celebrating it, acting like this was some grand moral victory. And to them, I'm sure it seemed that way. To people on the right, they were looking at it like Tucker Carlson is the reason why they're watching Fox News. They're not watching any of the other shows. They don't care about the other shows. Tucker Carlson was the only one talking about the Ukraine war and not, saying support it, actually calling out the problems there, calling out like the actual malfeasance from the U.S. government there. The anti-war crowd was almost entirely behind him because he was the only voice in mainstream media that was actually talking about it. During the January 6th stuff, they hate him for doing this, but if it wasn't for Tucker Carlson, playing those tapes from the January 6th committee that they tried to keep suppressed, there'd be many people that are still in prison. The QAnon shaman, for instance, they buried evidence. They kept it hidden from his attorneys, and they got this man to plead guilty and sent him to prison for 4 years. And then when Tucker Carlson gets the tape and he's playing it and it's going out there to everybody, the man is now released from prison. That's kind of big news. But of course, and I believe that there are clips of Tucker Carlson even saying this, that was not making many people happy. It certainly wasn't making Rupert Murdoch or any of the neocons who hate the MAGA people and are happy to see them put into a prison cell. It didn't make them happy either. So all of a sudden, randomly, after this whole Dominion lawsuit happens, Tucker Carlson gets removed, and people are saying it's because of Dominion, which didn't make too much sense because Tucker Carlson was not pushing the Dominion conspiracy. Tucker Carlson actually directly stated that lady, I think Sidney Powell was her name, needed to prove what she was saying, and she didn't actually have any evidence, and that she was wrong. Like he was the only one who actually challenged it on his show, where all the other shows were happily promoting it at the behest of the CEO. Really, a lot of people started to see it as an attack on, well, pretty much anybody against the establishment. Again, the things that seemed to really upset the owner for Fox News really came down to the stuff that he was talking about on his show and on his program. The owner for Fox News is not getting rid of the CEO who was telling people that they need to push the whole Dominion conspiracy. It wasn't any of the network anchors that were pushing it hardcore either. The only one that got terminated in this thing that cost them like almost $1 billion is the only one who was actually publicly stating that there were issues with it. So anyways, just food for thought there, food for thought. Now there is something else, and I'll be honest, this just seems like 100% a baseless attack on Tucker Carlson's character, and that's these allegations that he had created a misogynistic, anti-Semitic, sexist work environment and had ruined one of his producers' lives. So this woman is Abby Grossberg, who went to MSNBC after it was announced Tucker Carlson got fired, to basically go and just publicly trash the guy hardcore as much as she could. The weirdest one, though, was this claim here about how there are a bunch of pictures of Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit strutted all over the office and everything. And it's kind of interesting. It is kind of interesting. And the reason why that is I'm not entirely sure how Tucker was directing anything going on in the actual office like that, because Tucker Carlson never went to New York. He did his entire show from his own home studios. He did not go and he wasn't in New York where this woman was. In fact, there's going to be a little bit more about that later. But the other thing is she goes into how, the whole FBI being responsible for January 6th, he was obsessed with making up this conspiracy theory. And I'm like, okay, maybe he just believes in a conspiracy theory that's not true. What I do know is that because of Tucker Carlson revealing those documents, actual government documents, actual footage and everything, that there were over 20 federal agents dispersed into the crowd. Over 20. Sorry, I know the number is probably much higher than that. I apologize. But the idea that it's this baseless conspiracy that he was trying to cook up to defend Donald Trump, I don't understand that either, because during the whole Dominion lawsuit, there were text messages released from Tucker Carlson in which he was trashing Donald Trump and calling the man an idiot and saying he was destructive and saying that he had not been able to accomplish all that much, and he was looking forward to Trump being done and gone away with. So the idea that then he turned around and said, I'm going to make up a conspiracy theory to help Donald Trump get reelected. I'm just, those two thoughts just don't actually work together. They don't. They really don't. This whole thing about the Joe Biden thing. Yeah, I think there are people today that still do not accept that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. But yeah, no, a lot of people can't accept that. And I mean, the fact she's saying it took her a week, I mean, okay. But there was another clip, and I've been looking for it. I don't know, maybe it's been deleted. But it's Abby basically stating that he felt like he was, a king, a god, and he would threaten people that if they didn't come on his show, that he would destroy their entire political careers. And I'm just going, why is she saying this? This seems like a lie to me. Because Tucker Carlson, again, had the #1 rated show in that primetime cable slot, in all of cable at certain times. the idea that he needed to make threats to Republican politicians to come onto his show is kind of ludicrous to me. Most of those people only care about their own self-image. They want to reach as many people as possible. They want to boost up their profile. Tucker Carlson is the guy to do that for them. They don't need to beg him to come on. Sorry, he doesn't need to. They need to beg him. He doesn't need to beg them. He doesn't need to make these threats. It just came across as this like fantasy version of how the left sees Tucker Carlson. And that's what this woman was feeding them. Hey guys, it's Crow in editing. I actually found the clip. I'm going to play it now.
Tucker, it was different. And as a text that came out revealed my suspicions, he was looking for ratings bait, purely. And was also looking for power. It was a combination of ratings and power and manipulating the audience and manipulating also the political system. There was an aspect of, I can pick who the House Speaker is. I can pick who the President of the United States is or who the Republican candidate's going to be. And I thought that was really dangerous and didn't want that kind of power. I didn't want to have Senate candidates calling me and being very upset, are you going to destroy our whole campaign tonight? Because he could do that. And he would call and tell them that if you don't participate or you don't come on the show, we will destroy you. And I was told to tell that to congressmen sometimes. And I didn't. How can I? That was disrespectful. So in addition to the misogyny and the sexism and the anti-Semitism, there was also just this sort of moral growth with me where I reached a breaking point because of all of those things, and I literally did not want to do it anymore. It felt disgusting. I stopped watching news when I came home. I didn't watch anything. I just didn't want to because I was so depressed and disillusioned by the entire media system because of Tucker.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, and this is why I say it's ridiculous. You're telling me people are running for office, and at the same time, Tucker Carlson is threatening them to get them onto a show, that he's doing ratings bait. The guy had the #1 show like for the past 3 years. These don't fit. They don't go together. This is some fantasy version of evil Tucker Carlson working behind the scenes. You know, she talks about how Tucker ruined working in the industry for her. And I'm just like, man, like it's interesting that she is saying this. It's like she had this personal connection to Tucker Carlson, and he destroyed what she thought about journalisming in America. There's just one small problem with that very notion, and that's that she's never actually met Tucker Carlson. So we actually have two sources on this one. The first is a Fox News employee. So take it with a grain of salt, although it does seem like Fox News, Rupert Murdoch anyways, is intent on ruining Tucker Carlson's reputation now that he's fired him. Like, I'm telling you that this all seems sort of coordinated. But also, her own attorneys have confirmed this. Her own attorneys, and you have staff at Fox News stating that she has never met him. Never met him. But also that he was pushing a sexist, misogynistic work environment that what was it? Were responsible for breaking her and making her life a living hell. This is the definition of a joke. Okay, this is the definition of a joke. But she probably felt like so empowered to do this because, oh, he got fired. He's off the network now. I can run to MSNBC. I can publicly trash him, and he won't have the ability to even defend himself. And even if he does, by that point, I'll have become famous, and everyone will think that he's a gross, evil pervert. They already think he's evil. Now I'll just convince them that he's a gross, evil pervert. So, like, dude, this story here is just an absolute joke to me. If Rupert Murdoch really did terminate Tucker Carlson because of her claims, why isn't he cleaning house at Fox News, like top to bottom? Because Tucker wasn't the one running that office. Tucker wasn't even going into that office. These people were certainly booking the guest for him, but he was doing his entire thing at his home studio. So I'm just trying to figure this part out, okay? this whole thing just seems like a well-coordinated attack to destroy his character. I doubt Fox News is going to take any sort of action against Abby Grossberg, even though she's kind of like throwing dirt on them too, because she's going after the person that they really do want to see Tucker just die. They want to see him completely die. They want to see his reputation get destroyed. They don't want him to use this as a launch pad for himself, because if he did, you might encourage other talent on the network to go in the direction Tucker was going in. Get yourself more ratings and then springboard into your own independence. And now, obviously, it's not going to happen with like the super old talent on that network. Obviously not. But you would convince your fresh new talent that might be the way to go. So making an example of Tucker Carlson is definitely within their best interest. Although at the exact same time, if they really cared about their own self-interest, they probably wouldn't have done this. Entertaining this thing here from this Abby person is just really dumb. It really is. And look, I think in her mind, it's a safe bet. She's not directly stating that Tucker Carlson was sexually harassing her. She's saying this is just how the office was being run. So if he goes after her for defamation, she can always pull that card. And it's not like anyone in media would ever call her out on any of this bullshit. They hate the man. I watched The View celebrating his firing, like super ecstatic and happy. Yeah, people in Congress celebrating it. Yeah, apparently Pentagon officials saying the country is a much safer place without Tucker Carlson on the airways. Man, if the Pentagon is against it, it's probably means that it was a good thing. Because the Pentagon is evil too. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you even care? I think that the best stuff on that network, the only good thing from that network, came from his channel. And now that they've removed him, I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of bow out. I think you're going to see some of the people only tuned in to watch it. They're definitely gone. And they're going to follow him wherever he goes. Check this out. 19.8 million views, right? There's 22 million views now. I just pulled that clip up at the start of this video for you guys, and it's already got an extra 2 million views on this. This was posted at 7 o'clock. It's like 11 o'clock here right now. 4 hours, 22 million views. This guy actually has a brand. He actually has a following. And I think he's smart enough to use social media and other outlets in order to maintain his presence. Unchaining him, untethering him from Fox News is not going to be this godsend that people on the left seems to think it's going to be. If anything, he's just going to be encouraged to talk about the things that Fox News was definitely against him going on about. What now?